Battlestar Galactica sent viewers into space with a fight for survival, a lost civilization, and heroes searching for a new home among the stars. But decades after the Galactica's journey began, the cast's real lives followed paths no sci-fi script could control. Some became cult icons, some faded from the spotlight, and some deaths came far sooner than fans expected. Let's look back at the cast of Battlestar Galactica then and now. Lorne Greene, born on February 12, 1915, brought commanding wisdom to Battlestar Galactica at 63 years old, as Commander Adama, the leader guiding humanity's last survivors across the stars. Calm, noble, and almost biblical in presence, Adama gave the series its sense of destiny. He was not just a military commander, he felt like a father figure for an entire civilization trying to survive after losing everything. Away from the Galactica, Lorne Greene was already a television legend from Bonanza, where he played Ben Cartwright. He also worked as a radio broadcaster, singer, host, and one of Canada's most recognizable entertainment figures. He passed away on September 11, 1987, at the age of 72. His death was linked to complications from pneumonia after surgery for a perforated ulcer, ending a career that had made him a trusted face for generations. Adama remains unforgettable, because Greene gave him gravity without making him cold. In a series full of battles, planets, and machines, he gave Battlestar Galactica its human soul. Richard Hatch, born on May 21, 1945, became one of the heroic faces of Battlestar Galactica at 33 years old as Captain Apollo, the brave Viper pilot and son of Commander Adama. Focused, honorable, and deeply loyal, Apollo carried the clean, heroic spirit of the original series. He was a fighter, but not a reckless one. His courage came from duty, family, and the hope that humanity still had a future. Beyond the Galactica, Richard Hatch had already appeared on the streets of San Francisco before becoming closely tied to the Battlestar universe. Years later, he returned in the reimagined series as Tom Zarek, proving his bond with the franchise lasted far beyond one role. Richard Hatch died on February 7, 2017, at the age of 71 after battling pancreatic cancer. For science fiction fans, his death felt like losing one of the original guardians of the Galactica legacy. Captain Apollo still stands as a classic space hero because Hatch played him with sincerity rather than ego. He gave the series courage, heart, and the feeling that even in deep space, hope could still wear a human face. Herbert Jefferson Jr., born on September 28, 1946, brought steady warrior energy to Battlestar Galactica at 31 years old, as Lieutenant Boomer, one of Galactica's trusted Viper pilots. Cool-headed, loyal, and dependable under pressure, Boomer helped make the fighter squadron feel like a real brotherhood. He was not the loudest pilot in the fleet, but his calm presence gave the danger around him more weight. Besides, Herbert built a long career across television, film, and stage. He appeared in projects such as Rich Man, Poor Man, The White Shadow, and Apollo 13, while also continuing theater work and fan convention appearances. Now 79, remains warmly connected to the science fiction community. He has continued meeting fans and celebrating the original series, carrying Boomer's legacy with quiet pride rather than Hollywood noise. Boomer remains memorable because Herbert played him with discipline and heart. In a universe filled with star battles and survival, he helped give the Galactica crew the feeling of trust, loyalty, and real teamwork. John Colicos, born on December 10, 1928, brought theatrical menace to Battlestar Galactica at 49 years old as Count Baltar, the human traitor whose betrayal helped doom the 12 Colonies. Elegant, arrogant, and dangerously self-serving, Baltar was not a simple villain. John played him with the flavor of a grand space opera schemer, a man hungry for power, terrified of death, and always trying to bargain with forces bigger than himself. Beyond the Galactica, John had a respected career on stage, film, and television. Science fiction fans also remembered him as Kor, the first Klingon ever seen in Star Trek, giving him a rare place in two major sci-fi legacies. John Colicos passed away on March 6, 2000, at the age of 71 after suffering a series of heart attacks. His death ended the life of a performer whose voice, intensity, and classical training made every villain feel larger than life. Count Baltar still works because Colicos gave him style as well as danger. He made betrayal feel dramatic, operatic, and unforgettable. Exactly the kind of villain a mythic space adventure needed. Noah Hathaway, born on November 13, 1971, joined Battlestar Galactica at just 6 years old as Boxy, the young survivor taken under the protection of Apollo and Serena. Small, innocent, and surrounded by cosmic disaster, Boxy gave the series a child's view of survival. His presence reminded viewers that the destruction of the colonies was not just military tragedy, but a human one. After the Galactica, Noah became even more recognizable to fantasy fans as Atreyu in the never-ending story. He later stepped away from mainstream fame, with a life that included martial arts, tattoo work, and occasional returns to acting. Today, Noah Hathaway is 54, and lives far from the constant spotlight of his childhood roles. His public appearances are more tied to nostalgia, conventions, and the lasting affection fans have for the movies and shows that shaped them. Boxy remains important because he gave the fleet emotional innocence. Noah Hathaway helped make the Galactica's journey feel personal, showing that even in a war among the stars, the future still depended on protecting children. Laurette Spang, born on May 16, 1951, brought beauty and quiet resilience to Battlestar Galactica at 27 years old as Cassiopeia, one of the survivors who found a new purpose aboard the fleet. Graceful, intelligent, and more layered than she first appeared, Cassiopeia gave the series a softer human thread. She was not a warrior pilot, but her journey from socialator to medtech showed survival in a different form, adapting, healing, and becoming useful when everything familiar was gone. Outside Galactica, Laurette appeared in shows like Happy Days, Charlie's Angels, The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and Magnum, P.I. Her television career was active through the 1970s and early 1980s before she stepped back from regular acting. Today, Laurette Spang is 75 and has lived mostly away from the Hollywood spotlight. She later focused on family life with actor John McCook, while her connection to classic sci-fi has remained alive through fans of the original series. Cassiopeia still stands out because Laurette gave her dignity instead of decoration. In a fleet full of soldiers and refugees, she represented reinvention, the quiet strength to become someone new after the world ends. Terry Carter, born on December 16, 1928, brought firm command presence to Battlestar Galactica at 49 years old as Colonel Ty, Adama's second-in-command aboard the Galactica. Disciplined, serious, and built for crisis, Ty gave the bridge a sense of military order. He was not there for charm or easy emotion. He was the steady officer helping hold the fleet together when panic could have taken over. Away from the Galactica, Terry built a wide career as an actor, broadcaster, and documentary producer. He appeared in McCloud and Foxy Brown, and made history as one of the first black television news anchors in New England. Terry Carter died on April 23, 2024, at the age of 95. His final years were spent in New York City, closing a long life that moved through acting, journalism, and documentary storytelling. Colonel Ty remains memorable because Carter gave him authority without excess. He helped make the Galactica's command structure feel believable, a man of duty standing beside Adama as humanity searched for home. Patrick Macnee, born on February 6, 1922, gave Battlestar Galactica one of its most iconic voices at 56 years old as the opening credit announcer, setting the mythic tone before the story even began. Elegant, ominous, and instantly theatrical, his narration made the series feel bigger than a weekly space adventure. That voice carried history, disaster, and destiny, pulling viewers into a universe where humanity was running for its life. Outside the Galactica, Patrick Macnee was already beloved as John Steed in The Avengers. His long career included film, television, theater, and voice work, with a polished British style that made him instantly recognizable across generations. Patrick Macnee passed away on June 25, 2015, at the age of 93 from natural causes. His death marked the farewell of a performer whose charm and voice had become part of classic television history. Even without appearing as a regular crew member, Macnee left a powerful mark on the series. His narration gave Battlestar Galactica its sense of legend, the feeling that this was not just a story in space, but a survival myth. David Greenan, born on February 18, 1944, joined Battlestar Galactica at 34 years old as Omega, one of the bridge officers helping keep the Galactica's command center alive. Focused, alert, and quietly professional, Omega belonged to the crew members who made the ship feel functional. He was not written as a flashy hero, but his presence helped sell the idea of a real military vessel under constant pressure. Besides Galactica, David Greenan's screen career remained closely tied to television, with appearances in a handful of projects during the 1970s and 1980s. His role as Omega became the part most fans of classic sci-fi remember best. Now 82, has lived largely outside the public spotlight for many years. Unlike some of his castmates, he did not turn his sci-fi fame into a long celebrity profile, making his later life feel quietly private. Omega remains part of the original series' bridge crew memory. David Greenan helped give the Galactica its sense of discipline, routine, and survival, the background heartbeat of a ship carrying humanity's last hope. Anne Lockhart, born on September 6, 1953, brought fierce warrior energy to the series at 25 years old as Lieutenant Sheba, the skilled pilot from the Battlestar Pegasus. Bold, proud, and emotionally guarded, Sheba entered the story with a different edge from the Galactica crew. She carried loyalty to her father, Commander Kane, and the confidence of someone raised around command, danger, and sacrifice. Beyond the fleet, Anne built a long career in film, television, voice work, and stunt-related performance. She appeared across westerns, dramas, animation, and genre projects, continuing a family legacy as the daughter of actress June Lockhart. Today, Anne Lockhart is 72 and remains active in entertainment through acting, voice work, and convention appearances. Her later career has kept her connected to both classic television fans and new generations of genre audiences. Sheba still stands out because Anne gave her more than toughness. She brought pride, grief, courage, and emotional fire to the cockpit, making the character one of the original series' strongest female warriors. Sarah Rush, born on September 20th, 1955, brought calm bridge presence to Battlestar Galactica at 22 years old as Rigel, the young officer often seen helping coordinate the fleet's operations. Composed, efficient, and quietly focused, Rigel helped make the Galactica feel like a working command ship. She was not centered in the biggest battles, but her presence added realism to the constant pressure of survival in space. After the series, Sarah Rush continued acting in television, film, theater, and commercials. She appeared in projects such as The Incredible Hulk, Happy Days, and later remained connected to fans through sci-fi conventions and cast reunions. Currently 70, still embraces the affection surrounding the original series. Her public appearances and fan connections have kept Rigel's place in the Galactica family alive long after the show's short original run. Rigel remains memorable because Sarah made a smaller bridge role feel steady and sincere. In a story about lost worlds and desperate travel, she helped represent the many quiet people needed to keep hope moving forward. Ed Begley Jr., born on September 16, 1949, joined Battlestar Galactica at 29 years old as Greenbean, one of the young Viper pilots serving aboard the Galactica. Fresh-faced, eager, and full of rookie energy, Greenbean helped show that the fleet's fight was carried by more than just its main heroes. He felt like one of the many pilots risking everything in the background of humanity's escape. Away from the Galactica, Ed Begley Jr. built a long and respected career in film and television. He became known for Saint Elsewhere, Best in Show, Better Call Saul, and decades of character work across comedy and drama. Now 76, remains active as an actor and environmental advocate. His public life is strongly tied to green living, sustainability, and using fame to promote cleaner, more responsible choices. Greenbean may be a smaller role, but it became an early stop in a much larger career. Ed Begley Jr. brought youthful sincerity to the cockpit, then went on to become one of Hollywood's most recognizable working actors. John Dullahan, born on November 27, 1930, appeared in Battlestar Galactica at 47 years old as Dr. Wilker, the scientist whose inventions helped support the fleet's survival. Curious, technical, and quietly useful, Dr. Wilker gave the series a needed scientific voice. While warriors fought the Cylons, characters like him reminded viewers that survival also depended on repair, knowledge, and problem-solving. Beyond the Galactica, John Dullahan worked steadily as a character actor in film and television. His credits included guest roles in dramas, comedies, and genre shows, often playing professionals, officials, and everyday men with believable authority. He passed away on January 18, 2009, at the age of 78. His death came after a long career spent mostly in supporting roles rather than celebrity spotlight. Dr. Wilker remains part of the machinery of the original series. John gave him a grounded intelligence, helping make the Galactica feel not only like a warship, but like a fragile society trying to keep itself alive. George Murdoch, born on June 25, 1930, brought calm medical authority to Battlestar Galactica at 48 years old as Dr. Salak, one of the doctors caring for survivors aboard the fleet. Serious, steady, and quietly compassionate, Dr. Salak helped ground the show's grand space adventure in human consequence. Every battle had injuries, fear, and loss, and his presence reminded viewers that survival required more than bravery. Besides the Galactica, George built a long career as a familiar character actor. He appeared in Barney Miller, Star Trek: The Next Generation, The X-Files, and many television dramas, often bringing weight to authority roles. George Murdoch passed away on April 30, 2012, at the age of 81. His passing closed the life of a performer whose face and voice had quietly shaped decades of American television. Dr. Salak still matters because he represented the cost of war inside the fleet. George Murdoch gave him restraint and credibility, making the Galactica's sickbay feel like a place where hope and grief often stood side by side. Larry Manetti, born on July 23, 1947, joined Battlestar Galactica at 31 years old as Giles, one of the Viper pilots serving in the fleet's fight for survival. Confident, alert, and built for the cockpit, Giles added another face to the warrior brotherhood around Apollo and Starbuck. His role helped make the Galactica's pilot squadron feel larger, busier, and constantly under pressure. Away from the Galactica, Larry became best known as Orville Rick Wright on Magnum P.I., where his easy charm and chemistry with the cast made him a familiar television favorite through the 1980s. Now 78, remains connected to classic TV fans through interviews, reunions, and convention appearances. He has lived with the affection of two loyal fan communities, Battlestar Galactica and Magnum. P.I. Giles may not be the first pilot people name, but Larry gave him a confident, likable presence. His part helped fill the Galactica with the feeling of real comrades flying into danger together. Janet Julian, born on July 10, 1959, appeared in Battlestar Galactica at 19 years old as Lieutenant Bree, one of the young warriors seen aboard the fleet. Fresh, poised, and quietly capable, Bree helped expand the world beyond the main heroes. In a series built on survival, even smaller officers mattered, because they made the Galactica feel like a working society, not just a stage for a few stars. Outside the fleet, Janet worked steadily in film and television under both Janet Julian and Janet Louise Johnson. She appeared in King of New York, Humongous, The Love Boat, and other projects across drama, horror, and television. Today, Janet Julian is 67 and has lived mostly away from mainstream Hollywood attention. Her acting career remains a mix of cult film appearances, guest roles, and the kind of genre work fans continue to rediscover. Lieutenant Bree remains a small but interesting part of the original series. Janet brought youthful composure to the role, helping show that humanity's fight depended on many young faces standing their ground. Leanne Hunley, born on February 25, 1955, appeared in Battlestar Galactica at 23 years old as the first girl warrior, a brief early role inside the fleet's military world. Small as the part was, it helped place women inside the action and command atmosphere of the series. Her presence added to the sense that the Galactica was carrying not only heroes, but an entire surviving civilization. Away from the Galactica, Leanne became widely known for daytime and primetime television. She won a Daytime Emmy for Days of Our Lives, and later appeared as Dana Waring on Dynasty, building a strong career in soap and drama. Currently 71, Leanne Hunley remains fondly recognized by fans of classic television and daytime drama. Her later appearances have been less constant, but her most famous roles continue to keep her name alive. Her brief warrior role is a reminder that even small sci-fi appearances can sit at the start of a much larger career. Leanne went on to become far more than a background face in the fleet. Jack Stauffer, born on December 3, 1945, joined Battlestar Galactica at 32 years old as Lieutenant Bourget, the confident pilot from the Battlestar Pegasus. Sharp, capable, and carrying the pride of Kane's crew, Bourget brought a different flavor to the Viper pilots. He was not part of Adama's original circle, which made his presence feel like a reminder that other warriors had survived with their own loyalty and scars. Away from the Galactica, Jack worked across television, theater, and commercials. He was also known for playing Chuck Tyler on All My Children, and later continued acting, directing stage productions, and appearing at fan events. Now 80, Jack Stauffer remains one of the original series actors still warmly remembered by sci-fi fans. His later public life has been quieter, centered more on theater work, conventions, and the affection surrounding classic television. Bourget endures as a small but memorable piece of the Pegasus storyline. Jack gave him polish and pilot confidence, helping expand the fleet beyond one ship and making the Galactica universe feel larger. Lance Legault, born on May 2, 1935, brought a hard, intimidating presence to Battlestar Galactica at 43 years old as Maga, one of the fierce Boré figures in the original series. Rough, physical, and built like a threat from the edge of civilization, Maga added a harsher frontier feeling to the show's space adventure. He was not a polished officer or noble hero. He belonged to the wilder corners of the galaxy. Beyond the Galactica, Lance built a long career playing soldiers, villains, lawmen, and tough authority figures. Many viewers later knew him from the A-Team, Magnum, PI, and a wide range of action-heavy television roles. Lance Legault passed away on September 10, 2012, at the age of 77. His death came after a career defined by a deep voice, rugged looks, and the ability to make even a brief appearance feel dangerous. Maga remains memorable because Lance gave the role real physical weight. In a universe of chrome Cylons and heroic pilots, he added grit, menace, and a touch of raw, old-school television toughness. Jane Seymour, born on February 15, 1951, brought elegance and emotional warmth to Battlestar Galactica at 27 years old as Serena, the journalist and mother who becomes part of Apollo's life. Tender, brave, and marked by loss, Serena gave the early story some of its deepest human emotion. Her bond with Boxey and Apollo made the destruction of the colonies feel personal, not just spectacular. After the Galactica, Jane was already known from Live and Let Die, and later became beloved for Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Her career expanded into film, television, books, art, business, and charity work. Today, Jane Seymour is 75 and remains active in entertainment and public life. She continues acting, making appearances, and maintaining a strong connection with fans who know her from many different eras. Serena's time in the series was brief, but Jane made it emotionally important. She gave the Galactica's journey a mother's fear, a survivor's courage, and a love story that still carries sadness. Christine Belford, born on January 14, 1949, appeared in Battlestar Galactica at 29 years old as Leda, a character connected to the fleet's human drama beyond the main command crew. Soft-spoken, emotional, and shaped by survival, Leda helped show that life aboard the fleet was not only about pilots and battles. Her presence added another human face to a world filled with loss, fear, and uncertain futures. Besides Galactica, Christine built a steady television career through the 1970s and 1980s. She appeared in Banachek, The $6 Million Man, Beverly Hills, 90210, and many other dramas where her calm screen presence made her memorable. Now 77, Christine Belford has lived mostly away from regular Hollywood attention. Her later years have been quieter, but classic television fans still remember her as part of several familiar shows from that era. Leda remains a smaller but meaningful part of the original series. Christine gave her a gentle humanity, helping the Galactica feel less like a machine of war and more like a fragile home for survivors. Sheila Wills, born on August 11, 1947, brought sharp young officer energy to Battlestar Galactica at 31 years old as Lieutenant Dietra, one of the female warriors serving aboard the Galactica. Focused, alert, and ready for action, Dietra helped make the fleet's defense feel broader than just Apollo and Starbuck. Her role placed another capable woman inside the military world of the series, adding texture to the warrior ranks. Outside the Galactica, Sheila Wills worked in television, film, and later behind the scenes in entertainment. Her screen appearances were not as high profile as some castmates, but her connection to classic sci-fi kept her name alive among fans. Today, Sheila Wills is 78 and has kept a much lower public profile than during her acting years. She is mostly remembered through her convention appearances, fan memories, and her place in the original Galactica crew. Lieutenant Datra still matters because she helped widen the image of who could stand on the front line. Sheila gave the role discipline and presence, making even a smaller warrior part feel believable. Richard Lynch, born on February 12, 1940, appeared in Battlestar Galactica at 38 years old as Wolf, one of the rougher figures encountered in the fleet's dangerous journey. Hard-eyed, intense, and naturally unsettling, Wolf fit perfectly into the darker corners of the Galactica universe. Richard had the kind of face and voice that could make a small role feel threatening before he even spoke much. Beyond the fleet, Richard Lynch became one of Hollywood's most recognizable screen villains. He appeared in The Sword and the Sorcerer, Halloween, Bad Dreams, Invasion USA, and many television projects that used his fierce presence well. Richard Lynch died on June 19, 2012, at the age of 72. His death came after a long career built on intensity, survival, and roles that often turned his real-life scars into unforgettable screen power. Wolf may be a brief part of Battlestar Galactica, but Richard made him memorable through pure presence. He gave the story a flash of danger that felt raw, human, and hard to ignore. Dirk Benedict, born on March 1, 1945, brought effortless rogue charm to Battlestar Galactica at 33 years old as Lieutenant Starbuck, the cigar-smoking Viper pilot with a smile built for trouble. Cocky, playful, and impossible to pin down, Starbuck gave the series its flash of mischief. He was brave in battle, reckless with cards, charming with women, and always just one decision away from causing trouble on the Galactica. Away from the fleet, Dirk became even more famous as Templeton Face Peck on the A-Team. He also worked as an author and became known for his outspoken views on health, fame, and the changing entertainment industry. Now 81, Dirk Benedict lives a quieter life than during his television peak. He still remains closely tied to classic sci-fi and action fans, especially through the lasting affection for both Starbuck and Face. Starbuck remains one of the original series' most magnetic characters. Dirk gave him swagger, humor, and a human flaw that made the Galactica feel less like a military machine and more like a ship full of real personalities. Maren Jensen, born on September 23, 1956, brought quiet beauty and emotional poise to Battlestar Galactica at 21 years old as Lieutenant Athena, daughter of Commander Adama. Graceful, loyal, and caught between duty and family, Athena gave the bridge a more personal connection to Adama's leadership. She was not only an officer, she was a daughter watching her people fight for survival among the stars. Outside the Galactica, Maren's acting career was brief but memorable. She appeared in projects like The Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries and Beyond the Reef, then stepped away from Hollywood after health struggles changed the direction of her life. Today, Maren Jensen is 69 and has lived mostly outside the public spotlight for decades. Her life after acting became private, far removed from the weekly visibility she had during the original series. Athena remains a gentle part of the show's emotional core. Maren Jensen gave her calm, dignity, and a quiet sadness that helped make the Galactica's mission feel not just heroic, but deeply personal. The cast of Battlestar Galactica may have left the stars behind, but their courage, characters, and classic sci-fi legacy still live on with fans across generations. Which cast member's story surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch the next Then and Now video.